Welcome to Officer 24/7. My name is Niharika Balia Bhatnagar and I am with you with the era of AFM. Okay, everyone, we have done a lot of topics already. So, what are we going to talk about today? Uh, we are at unit number 10 of this particular module A. That means just the last chapter is left regarding the module A. Rest everything is already done. Plus point, if you are going through the classes every single day, then you must have seen that most of the topics are already done by you in terms of module A. And in this case, just save the entire playlist so that you have the revision in a systematic manner when you will be having your examination. So that's the basic idea behind coming up with these kind of series, that you get to know what exactly you are dealing with and you have some solid level study material which will help you to study on the last day, because what everybody struggles is what to do on the last day of the examination. What are those things which we need to go through when the examination is approaching? Those basic things has to be matlab already decided. That's what one particular thing that I strongly believe in. Okay. Now let's move on and talk about that specific topic. But before we proceed further, I hope you have reviewed our courses yet. If you haven't, then you must, because the sale is going on. It is there for a very limited period. It would be ending soon. So it's way better that you go ahead with it at the perfect time. The details regarding the same I'll be discussing by the end of the session. If you like this particular session, then go ahead and on the thumbs up and click on the area of subscribe channel as well, so that you get all the important information regarding the examination. Along with this, when we are talking about this examination, then this is for the May 2024 attempt and afterwards. So if you find this useful, then stay tuned and be there with me every evening. Okay. So let's continue, everyone. Uh, the questions that we're going to deal with are related to the area of back office functions or handling unreconciled entries in the banks. Acha, what do you mean by back office? Well, there's a front office and there's a back office. Now, the back office deals with what exactly? The back office is dealing with the entire area of it is actually dealing with the entire working in such a way that it is related to the area of admin work, all the things related to the reconciliation of all the entries, and then where they're taking care of the uh, working related to the treasury management. All those things are covered in the back office functions, huh? So we are going to look at different types of accounts, what is happening in those accounts. Tracking of all those things is really important, because front office is always involved in dealing with the customers, right? So let's quickly move on and talk about the various questions related to this particular topic. Okay, here comes the first question. What is the primary responsibility of the back office in bookkeeping? Is it sales and servicing? Is it transaction processing and general ledger maintenance? Then marketing strategies or front office reconciliation? What do they do, everyone? When we're talking about what is the primary responsibility of the back office, their primary responsibility is to track the processing, and they also go through the general ledger maintenance. This is what they maintain. Matlab, they are looking at the back end entire working, whatever is happening with the transactions, and they are also looking at the general ledger maintenance. Okay. What is the back office responsible for in deposit related functions? Loan originations, then internet banking transactions, calculation and posting of interest, or credit risk management. Okay, so we're talking about sorry, the back office in terms of deposit related. They are looking at calculation and posting of interest. How are they looking at it? For example, if you look at the FDs, RDs, है ना? So they calculate the interest. It is always done by the core banking solution. CBS goes through that, and then it takes care of the entire working further. So the answer is calculation and posting of interest. Okay. Now, which of the following is a part of the back office role in loans, internet banking, loan origination, credit card issuance, or front office sales. Which basically work front office sales is out because that is a work of the front office. So we can keep it out of this window. You know? Then what does it take care of it? In terms of loans, the issuance of the loans, their agreement, their entire hypothecation process and everything is taken care from this particular area or back office itself. So they are taking care of the loan origination. Okay? So the answer is loan origination. Now, what is the key responsibility of the back office in regulatory compliance? Marketing strategies, identifying KYC gaps, or loan origination, or front office the reconciliation. Acha, front office reconciliation, as we already know, this is not their part. But what are they looking at? In terms of regulatory compliance, what do they do? See, someone is taking a loan. They have deposited their papers through it to them. Now, if I have deposited my papers, and they will have to review it, na? Ki what is happening in those things? What are we going to do about it, right? So, regulatory compliance, it is to the area of the documents which I'm submitting. Are they true or not? The authorization of the same. So, all those important things are to be taken care of. So, what is the key responsibility of the back office? The key responsibility is to find out the know your customer gaps. Know your customer gaps are really important because if the KYC is not done, I think at this point of time, as a customer, I've always seen that the once the KYC is not done, your accounts are not going to work smoothly. One or the other problem will arise while going through the internet transactions or even through apps. So basically, for that you need your KYC done, right? So the regulatory compliance in terms of the KYC is the responsibility of the back office, right? Okay. Now, here comes the next question, everyone. What is the primary concern addressed by reconciliation in electronic payment transactions involving intermediaries? Delay in customer payments, ensuring timely adjustment of reconciliation entries, centralized monitoring of ATM or currency exchange rates. What is the primary concern? One of the most important concerns related to the area of electronic payment. Okay, what happens is if I've just made an IMPS, in IMPS, the payment has to be reflected. Na? In IMPS, it has to be shown right away, right? So if this thing is going to happen, then we need to ensure timely adjustment of the reconciliation entries because the person is going to, but now every person wants to know their real time balance. What is the balance that we are having right now? And how do we deal with that balance? So basically we need that clarity now. That comes with point number B. This is the part of the back office. They're sitting at the back office and they're making sure whatever entries are being done, the reconciliation of the same is done, so that each and every intermediary is going to make sure that when there are multiple parties involved now, the back end will always make sure that there is no gap between transactions and what is being shown there. So it has to be shown in real time in the accurate thing. So that is ensuring the timely adjustment of the reconciliation. Okay? So that is ensuring timely adjustments of reconciliation entries. Now, what is the fundamental purpose of reconciling entries with correspondent banks? Monitoring ATM balance, agreement of traders' overnight positions, timely adjustment of reconciliation or reconciliation of NOS-through accounts. What is the area where we are talking about? They're working with correspondent banks. When we are looking forward to other banks as well, then there is reconciliation of NOS-through accounts. Okay? So in this case, the correct answer is actually D, reconciliation of NOS-through accounts. Okay. Now comes the next point. Why do the banks engage in reconciliation with RBI and other institutions? Banks need to do this because what happens is if there is any kind of error or gap between the information that we are looking forward to and what the other party is having, then frauds are very easy. I think the truth regarding the cyber threats which had been hitting up the market, they are there because sometimes the real time information gets affected, and before anybody can grab the exact information for this particular period of time, the time is gone. So that's one of the bad things that happen. So why do banks engage in reconciliation? They will do it for to centralize the monitoring of ATMs. You don't work with other institutions for ATMs, right? You There are certain ways of regulating your own RBI, your ATM systems. So reconcile entries for margin calls and futures trading. That is a very specified sector. Then, to ensure safe and orderly conduct of electronic payment, that can be done, or to reconcile intra-bank transactions. If I look at intra-branch, that is also there, but I would say they engage for RBI and another institutions reconciliation just to find out कि ठीक है ना, because when we are doing the electronic payment, we would like to know if my information is this, is the other party also having the same information or not. So basically, it is very important to ensure the safe and orderly conduct of electronic payment. ठीक है? So to ensure safe and orderly conduct of electronic payment transactions. Now, what is the key challenge in reconciliation of intra-branch entries? When we are having intra means within the branch entries are going on and subsystems are also existing. Then currency exchange rates, delay in customer payments, centralized monitoring of ATM balance for ensuring accuracy and consistency in records. Inter means between two, and when we talk about intra means within the specific branch. So the currency rate issue is basically there only in forex, you know. Then delay in customer payments that can affect you, but this is not something which I can say this is intra branch or subsystem there. Centralized monitoring of ATM, it is all centralized. That means everything is basically updated as soon as it happened. Then this particular thing ensures accuracy and consistency in records. So in this case, the correct answer is going to be ensuring accuracy and consistency of records. Okay, so that's the correct answer. Now comes the next part, everyone. Why has a reconciliation of inter-branch entries remained a concern? Why inter-branch means when we are having two specific branches. For example, we have branch A and we have branch B. Now, why has the entire process of inter-branch entries remained a concern despite the advent of computers or currency exchange? Okay, audible now? So in this case, what are we talking about? Why has reconciliation of inter-branch entries remained a concern for the banks? See, inter-branch means we are having two separate branches of same bank, right? So the branches have to be synchronized in such a way that the information, for example, my home branch is somewhere else and I am taking out money from the bank but from a different branch, you know. When we are doing such a thing, then why has this reconciliation remained a concern? Why is it such a big concern? Due to customer repayment delay, that's not a problem there. Then despite the advent of computers are there, but the gaps have also, the fear of having gaps has also increased as well, because sometimes now there had been cyber frauds where the entire banking has been hit by it, right? Currency fluctuations are limited only to the forex areas, while the last point is centralized monitoring of ATMs. When we talk about centralized monitoring, what do we cover in this? Under centralized monitoring, we are saying that all the ATMs of that same bank will be synchronized in such a way. If I take money out from the branch A and I have my account in branch B, the entire information is given to them immediately. So in the entire banking system, in that entire bank, wherever I've tried to find out things, my entire information is completely updated without any hustle bustle. Okay, so basically you are just making sure that if we are looking at any branch now, everything is in a centralized format. Right? Done, everyone? Chaliye then, let's move on and talk about the next question. In this case, the correct answer is uh, despite the advent of nay, I think I might have to rephrase this question. Okay, we'll be rephrasing this question. There's some issue in this question then. Now, look at this question, everyone. What is the primary responsibility of the banks in reconciling with third party vendors in ATM operations? Monitoring currency exchange rates, timely adjustment of reconciliation entries, centralized monitoring of ATM, or ensuring accurate loading of funds in ATMs. What is the primary responsibility, everyone? Basically, na, when we are looking forward towards third party vendors in ATM operations, we have to go for it sometimes. Why do we have to make sure? Because we need to ensure that accurate loading of funds in ATMs is possible, right? So, just to maintain that accuracy, we have to reconcile with the third party vendors with whom we are working. You know? So, in this case, the correct answer is going to be ensuring accurate loading of funds. Now, what does the term nostro account signify in banking? Customer's personal account, overseas branch account with bank, or centralized monitoring account, or special savings account? What does the term nostro account would talk about? Nostro account says that overseas branch account with the bank. Matlab there is some other branch which is there outside India and they have an account with our bank. So basically overseas branch account with the bank is called Nostro account. Okay? The answer is B. Overseas branch account with the bank. Why do unmatched items in reconciliation of Nostro account represent? What do they represent? Successfully reconciled entries, items that need further investigation, cash transactions requiring adjustments, or revenue items with clear write offs. What do unmatched items in reconciliation of Nostro represent? When we have any unmatched transactions, that simply means we need to have the items that need further investigation. If there is anything which is unmatched, that has to go through investigation. Without it, it is not possible to find out the problem and eradicate the same from our business. Right? So, items that need further investigation. Then everyone, now comes the next question. Which branches typically reconcile balances with RBI? All the branches of the bank, only branches with currency chest, only select branches with RBI accounts, or centralized monitoring branches? What would be the answer, everyone? Which branch typically reconcile with RBI? All the branches? Or only branches with currency banks or currency chest, or only branches with RBI accounts, uh, or centralized monitoring? Okay, where anybody who has a transaction with RBI will be saying ki, yes, I sent RBI 10,000 rupees, and even RBI will say yes, I received 10,000 rupees from this era. So technically where you have a transaction with RBI only, then it has to be only select branches with RBI accounts. Okay, so only select that specific branch in terms of reconciliation which has an account with RBI. Done, everyone? So if I talk about this entire portion, I've covered it in the form of series. So I hope you have already reviewed the previous classes. If you haven't, then go ahead and check it out. Now, once we're done with this, we will be moving towards the next modules as well. But before that, just let me know in the comment section if these are turning to be helpful for you. Along with that, please go ahead and like the session, and don't forget to subscribe the channel as well. Okay, everyone. So let's begin with the session, everyone. Uh, what are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about bank audit and inspection. What do you mean by audit, everyone? See, the point is that every business thinks that there is no fraud going on. Obviously, everybody feels that there's no fraud, but you need to keep on checking it now, because money can make anybody blind. So we need to see whether, if we are giving that particular authority to someone, whether that particular person is doing that particular task in the given way or not. Is he violating the laws of the organization, or is he involved in any kind of fraud or any of those things? There can be genuine mistakes as well. So we need to check it up now. So bank audit is what? When banks are reviewed whether the books of accounts of the banks are providing true and fair view or not. The most important element of auditing is whether it provides true and fair view. Okay, so that's what we define in terms of the bank audit and inspection. Okay, so considering this particular area, let's start with the question number one. What is the primary role of audit according to the definition of an introduction to Indian government accounts and audit? Financial management, safeguard against extravagance, carelessness or fraud, market strategy, or personal management. According to you, what would be the answer in this case? What is the primary role of audit? If I talk about primary role now, they are never into an introduction to Indian government accounts and audit. When we are trying to provide this area, na, they are basically just trying to help the entire organization to report or highlight. They will not be doing anything else, but they are going to be the watchdog. An auditor is actually called a watchdog. What do you mean by watchdog, everyone? Watchdog means the one who will alert you. कि नहीं, there is something bad happening, there is something that requires your immediate attention. That is how we define the term watchdog. While when we talk about bloodhounds, they are like, as soon as they find the particular person who is involved in crime, they will run after him and maybe kill him even. So that's the difference. An auditor is a watchdog, not a bloodhound. They are not going to chase after the particular people who are going to fraud. They are going to report it. कि ठीक है, there is a particular thing which is going on and which is not good for the organization, and so thing has happened. So they are just sorted about this. Then in India, the Companies Act 2013 deals with the various aspects related to the auditors. Which of the following is not covered under Chapter 10 of the Companies Act 2013? Appointment of auditors, powers and duties of auditors, taxation guidelines for companies, or auditing standards. When we talk about the Companies Act, it does not cover taxation guidelines for companies. Why? Because this is covered under in the Income Tax Act 1961. ठीक है? When we talk about companies, companies are ruled by the Companies Act 2013. Basically, it was something which was developed in 1956 and then recently amended in 2012-13. So that came up with Companies Act 2013. Along with this, there are other specific laws as well which are applicable on these organizations, but taxation is strictly covered under Income Tax Act 1961. Right? So in this case, the correct answer is going to be the taxation guidelines, as it is covered under Income Tax Act. What is the significance of the computer aided audit techniques in the audit process, everyone? How is CAAT so important for the organization? Now, most of the organizations have started opting for CAAT, everyone. Why is CAAT so important? Number one, they replace the auditors in the audit process. They process data of audit sequence and improve audit effectiveness and efficiency. They are used for financial management, or they focus on manual audited procedures? Not really. They do not use manual. It is called computer aided audit techniques for a reason there. You know. So basically, in this area, what they are actually doing is they cannot replace the auditors. Even computer aided audit techniques is basically when the audit significance and improves audit effectiveness. Matlab the auditor will use this particular machine CAAT to observe the data for further deviations. Okay. Because when we talk about the entire area of accounting, it is based upon the proof. If you have a proper proof, then it is considered. If it is not having a proper proof, then it is not considered. So in terms of computer aided audit techniques, when when the auditors are having a word with the staff members, they are trying to collect the as much of information as possible regarding the organization which they are looking at. So this is really important. So they what they do is through CAAT, they are reviewing the organization externally from different points. So CAATs really help in case the organization is looking forward towards any of the further instability. What are the incidental objectives of auditing? Incidental means additional. Is it detection and prevention of errors and frauds, maximizing profits, or market research, or employee satisfaction? Nobody is happy when you keep on looking at them. Your observation power can definitely poke people that why is this particular person looking at me so much. So basically, in terms of the auditing, a particular person will not find it as a motivation until unless there is a motivational speech for them. So basically, motivational portion which makes them feel keen, this is something I need to understand. So motivation and employee satisfaction, they all fall in the same category. Then detection and prevention of frauds. When we talk about detection and prevention of frauds, under this, first of all, whenever a particular person does something, then what will happen? You will have to report their flaws. No? You will have to report it to the people ultimately. So this is a requirement for detect and then prevent the errors along with the frauds, because it is super important that the organization is providing a conclusive proof, right? Done everyone. So in this case, the correct answer is going to be ancillary, is only this. Done. Then comes what are some inherent limitations of auditing. Inherent means something which cannot be removed. It is always there. These are something which are always existing in this specific area. It just doesn't go. So those are called inherent limitations, everyone. When I'm trying to describe the inherent limitations, what are those? Auditors' response dependence on the explanation by others, non-monetary facts may not exhibit the true exhibition. Both can uh, check every each and every transaction, and then both A and B under audit. Even if you want, you cannot check all the transactions. The organization would have prepared their books of accounts over a period of good number of years, and then good number of months. Then you just have to check it in a very limited period of time. So practically this is not possible, but yes, A and B is definitely possible. The answer is D. That is both A and B is the correct answer. Then how does risk-based internal auditing RBIA linked in international auditing to organizations overall framework? How is RBI trying to link itself to the internal auditing to organizational frameworks? They are basically doing it by maximizing profits, by facilitating rapid changes in business conditions, by focusing on the regulatory compliance, or by aligning with the company organization's risk management framework. Risk management doesn't mean that you are eradicating the risk. You are just trying to reduce it, is the difference. Okay? Now, The particular point regarding this is what they do is when we are talking about the RBI link with internal auditing, they are limited towards the area of aligning the organizational risk with the management framework. How does the management work? And according to this, the risk would come to the organization. Okay? That's one of the things that more risk you take, you bigger risk taker you become, then obviously things get more and more tougher. So that's one of the basic things that happen. So when we talk about the risk management framework, they're just trying to reduce their risk to the maximum level. Then comes what is the guidance note for RBIA or RBS state regarding the role of the audit function in banks, maximizing profits through risk management, providing high quality counsel on regulatory compliance, facilitating rapid changes in business conditions, and proactively identifying new risks and ensuring effective internal control. Everyone, what is the correct answer in this case? When we talk about the guidance node of RBI on RBIA or RES, what they're exactly trying to do is they are trying to develop, they're practically looking forward towards effective ways of having internal control. When you are looking at the different kinds of threats, ki, haan, this kind of threat also exists, this kind of threat also exists. When you have the series of threats which you know about, that is how you will take it now. If you have no idea about the what kind of threats you are facing, how will you answer it? How will you mitigate that particular threat? You will have to know what exactly are the fears that you are facing, right? Now comes the next point. What is the primary role of head of internal audit in banks governance and internal framework? What is the primary role of head of internal auditor? Maximizing shareholder wealth, ensuring compliance with industry standards, and providing high quality quality counsel to management, and then is facilitating rapid changes in the business conditions. So what is it that we are talking about? The area of head of internal audit in a bank governance. Bank governance means how the banks are working. Obviously businessman has a different way of working and the bankers have a separately different way of working, you know. So in this case what will happen? The primary work of the internal auditor is to make sure that you provide a high quality counsel to the management, because you are making sure that the organization is reviewing everything whatever they are dealing with. So basically high quality counsel can see that the organization is maintaining the books of accounts properly, they are sharing it, then they are open for renewal and the questions are being asked to them. So all these things are really important. Now the council will make sure that everything which is happening is reviewed. Internal auditor is way better than the external auditor, because external auditor can raise multiple questions, internal auditor can get a few things sorted itself. So that's the beauty of the internal auditors, but those internal auditors has to be reviewed, right? So when we talk about this area, it is done to provide high quality counsel to management, because this particular person who has worked in multiple areas and that too at a very high position, then he is capable of dealing with any kind of working which is further there. Then how long is the head of the internal audit recommended to be appointed according to RBI instructions? Then when we talk about minimum of 1 year, minimum of 2 year, minimum of 3 year, minimum of 5 years, what is the time, everyone? Then minimum 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, or 5 years. When we talk about HI recommendation, then the recommendation is given for a minimum period of 3 years. That particular person whose name has been recommended will stay at that position. Now let's look at the next question. Why is professional competence, knowledge, and experience deemed essential? Professional competence is important because then you can find out the mistakes very easily. And then we can have the second part is knowledge. Knowledge should be always to the point, and what is the latest knowledge is required for the examinations there. And then deemed essential in the internal auditors in a bank. Then is it to respond rapid changes in business conditions? Then we need to facilitate business conditions. And then second one is I can feel to comply with legal and regulatory framework to maximize the effectiveness of the internal audit function, or to maximize the shareholder with. Then everyone, what would be the answer? We're talking about IA. Then everyone, in this case, what would be the answer? We're talking about professional competence, we're talking about the knowledge and as well as experience. In this case, the correct answer is going to be to ensure the effectiveness. Effectiveness means the completion of the target. Done, everyone? Now, in this case, the correct answer is to ensure the effectiveness. When we talk about the audit now, in terms of professional competence, it is very, very important that you have an internal audit. Internal auditor will see the books of accounts, he will raise questions, he will solve the problems, he will definitely write it about it in its report, but the same will also be given to the statutory auditor as well, as an information ki so and so information was found and then they have improved it further. But this thing really happens that this particular experience really helps you to understand things more deeply. Then, in case of outsourcing expertise of the for the internal audit function, what conditions must be met to address any conflict? If you're looking at the conflict, then no need to address conflict of the interest, that is not done. Assurance to the audit committee, to the of board, or independence of from regular internal audit function, or relinquishing the ownership of audit reports. So when we talk about the entire area of the audit reports there, the most important thing is to assurance to the audit committee, to the board. This committee has been appointed by the board itself, and then they will decide whether this organization is going to have one specific audit committee, or who is going to be the auditor there, and how internal auditing thing would work. What is the stance on the outsourcing of internal audit function? Think about it, everyone. If I talk about internal audit function, that means the internal auditor will go to your certain branches, they will review all the working there, they will do the cash audit, and they will do everything there, you know. So that particular person is doing it. So when he comes to the office, he has the information which is there in terms of the organization is required. Now the point is, if this vital information goes to anywhere else, so then what will we do? So technically, whenever you are looking forward towards internal audit, the particular person should be always the person who is within the reach of the organization. That when the organization is thinking ki there is something that is going on in the business, then what you do is you are keeping your enemy in front of you. So in this case, this is one of the basic things that you always keep your enemy in front of you. So if there are chances of having frauds and any of these situations, then why to keep the particular things far away from you, right? So now this is about they are prohibiting. They do not allow any internal auditor to be an external person. He has to be someone who's from the organization itself. Okay? That is prohibited, not allowed. Now, what areas are typically covered by concurrent auditors in their examinations? So when we think about the concurrent auditors, concurrent audit matlab the entire working of the accounting is going on, and at the same time the checking is also going on. That is why we call it concurrent. Then it is year-end audit preparations or maximizing the cash balance changes, or compliance with marketing strategies, or compliance with the KYC norms, loan disbursements, then revenue leakages, etc. So in this case, what would be the answer? If they are looking forward towards daily transactions, then it is very important to go through the KYC norms. It is very important to disperse the loans, and how, on what basis are they disposing the loans, and then what are the revenue leakages, right? So when we're talking about compliance with KYC and all of this is basically when the entire working is managed in certain way, that whatever the internal auditor will say, that particular part would be improved further, so that whenever the final auditor will come, the chances of having queries and other problems will decline. Concurrent auditor has to go to the company every single month, and they have to review the books of accounts. A journal can be reviewed only if you have a specific ledger going on where you are writing those particular things. Then everyone, so in this case the correct answer was D again, that is compliance with the KYC norms. Our module has almost come to an end. That simply means if I look at the specific module itself, till now we were done till module number 11, that is the last module A, unit number 11, which is the last chapter of module A. So let's quickly move on and talk about this specific module. Acha, what do we mean by this, and what's exactly the thing about the bank audit and inspection? Okay. What is the primary aim of concurrent audit in commercial banks according to RBI guidelines? Now, if I look at the concurrent audit is an audit which is done every single month, right? So while you are working, we are checking. That's the particular ideology behind a concurrent audit. Matlab, it's obvious if I'm an auditor and I'm coming on an annual audit, I cannot check the things which are done over a period of 12 months in a few days. That doesn't sound practical. And if the particular bank or the particular branches are super important, then leaving it on the annual audit is very risky. So, as per the RBI guidelines, certain banks are required to go on concurrent audit, and a few are required only the annual ones. It would vary. So, when we have concurrent audit in our bank, so what will happen? Every single month, internal auditors would be there. They will be conducting a concurrent audit. They will prepare the long form audit report, that is LFAR, and they will also prepare this LFAR, and then they are always reviewing the books of accounts, vouchers, TDS, returns, and all those important aspects of the audit there, right? And who's the auditor? The auditor is a particular chartered accountant who's working under ICAI, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. Basically they become that's the organization under which they are registered, right? So what is the primary aim of concurrent audit in commercial banks? Maximizing shareholder wins, or detecting the frauds and ensuring that the accuracy is there, and then conducting regular financial reporting or implementing market strategies. In this case, what we are doing is we are detecting the frauds and ensuring that the books of accounts are absolutely correct. Okay. Then comes what aspects are covered by revised guidelines on current audit system in commercial banks by RBI. Now, if I talk about the revised guidelines, what does it exactly cover? Acha, first of all, everyone, if you find the series helpful, please go ahead and like the entire series. Go ahead if you have been reviewing the classes just now. So every class I've covered only and only IIBF book itself. There is no other place where I collect the questions from. Along with this, you get the questions from the previous examinations as well. So a few questions are taken from the previous papers, from similar paper pattern areas, so that you learn from it, so that you can understand what kind of difficult questions can be asked from it. So if you find this series helpful, then please keep on motivating me, because I think you are the ultimate source of the work ultimately, right? That means if I talk about the entire hard work that we put in it, it's because of you. So if you keep on supporting us, our way of working can definitely be improved further. It can be overall, this would be a joyous journey if you're there, right? And if you're there, then show your presence, like this particular video, and at the same time, share it among your peers. Okay. Acha, here comes the question regarding what aspects are covered in the revised guidelines of concurrent audit. Coverage, audit report, tenure, reporting system, remuneration, tenure, accountability, appointment of auditors. Then comes a review of the effectiveness, or the last one is coverage, appointment of auditors, and reporting systems. What would be the answer then? The correct answer is going to be coverage, appointment of auditors, as well as tenure. Tenure is the time period for which a particular person is basically chosen as an auditor. Then how are we appointing the entire people there, and how do we cover it? What is the coverage? Scope of audit. Matlab, it's like you just cannot say, Anji, just check everything you see. No, they won't. You have to define what they are here to check, right? That is scope of audit. It is normally defined or determined before the audit starts. So the scope of audit is one of the first things to look forward to, that what is the particular area where the auditor has to work upon. Acha, next pointer. What is the significance of CAAT? We have talked about it yesterday even. Computer aided audit techniques in the audit process. Basically, what has happened is earlier the work was manual mode, you know. So then there was audit. Audit was normally done on the files and everything. It was easier. You had conclusive proofs. People signed it. Authentication is done. Everything was visible. Even one particular entry moving through different areas, you just have to open up and you can check it. Now the things have changed. Now the bookkeeping is not done manually. It is done through softwares. So basically now the working is on software utilization in the maximum way. And then audit trail is definitely difficult to trace key when the entry is put where it is exactly going. You have to review the particular books of accounts very carefully. And if you cannot do it that carefully, then who will do it, and how will you do it? One of the things is that you start using the apps itself. If they are using CPS software to record the books of accounts, to maintain their books of accounts, then why not the auditor find a software through which they can work? They replace auditors in the audit process. Nothing can replace an auditor. They process data on of audit significance and improve audit effectiveness and efficiency. Yeah, this is what we can say, because when you are providing them aided techniques through which their overall auditing quality becomes better, then why not? They are used for financial management, not really. They focus on manual audit procedure. Manual is just not something where you have computers. The computer aided means helped audit techniques, they are basically used only for one particular thing, that they process the audit significance, and they help in correcting evidence as well as brings the efficiency and effectiveness. Acha, what's the difference between the two? If efficiency is to reduce cost and effectiveness is to do the work timely, everyone. How do we learn the difference between the two? There comes the T, there comes the C. So effective time and C efficiency cost. Done, everyone? Okay, here comes the next question. The next question says, what is the objective of cyber fraud guidelines according to RBI guidelines? Um, Maximizing shareholder wealth, then safeguarding assets through security control measures, conducting information system audit, or assessing hardware efficiency. What would it be, everyone? Regarding regarding cyber fraud, one of the things that they have to work upon is uh, safeguarding assets to security. Basically, cyber fraud is basically just to make sure that there are no frauds happening in the organization. So basically, they are just looking forward towards the, what is the objective? Objective of cyber fraud is B only. It's just an error. The answer is B. ठीक है. So the answer is actually B. When we talk about cyber fraud is basically the fraud which is done through computers, and the organizations have to safeguard themselves, because if they won't save themselves, who will do that for them? है ना? Because public money is involved, RBI is always after their lives. Then SEBI, if you're a listed company, you have to answer SEBI as well. You have to answer income tax department for the return filing. You have, if it's a banking company, then the banking regulation act is also applicable on them. So everything is not an easy thing for the bank. Now already it is basically challenging, right? Then what is the focus of IT services, information technology services, as per RBI guidelines? That is to ensuring data integrity, ensuring conducting information research, information system audit, or providing assurance on the effectiveness of internal control, or facilitating customer awareness programs. Why is it done, everyone? Basically, when we talk about the IT services, now the IT services are providing to make sure that the organization has a better control over its working. That's the basic reason for which we work. So the what is the focus of IT? IT is basically to provide assurance as well as to provide effectiveness of the internal control. Okay? So the answer is this. Providing assurance on the effectiveness of the control. Next point. Uh, what is the statutory requirement? What is the statutory requirement that necessitates, what statutory requirement necessitates the audit of annual financial system in banks? RBI, Banking Regulation Act, Master Circular, or SA on internal audit? When we're talking about audit of financial statements in the bank, it is actually the Banking Regulation Act 1949. SAs are basically standards on audit. So basically, SAs are given by ICAI, right? So they have been recommending all these audit standards, that if you are doing any audit, then what are the basic things as a professional, as a CA, one person has to work. This is not only applicable on CAs. The standards on auditing are applicable at multiple areas, right? So if we talk about the applicability overall, it starts from the CAs only. Rest, the auditors, whosoever is being the auditor there, they will have to abide by the audit standards, or we call it standards on auditing. ठीक है. Now comes what is the SA on the internal audit? SA 14 issued by ICAI focuses upon compliance with legal regulations, maximizing shareholder wealth, procedure to be followed during internal audit in an IT environment, or conducting regular financial reporting. What would be the answer, everyone? If I look at SA 14, na, SA 14 is related to the area of internal audit. To help to for the internal audit, na, this is related to the area of procedures to be followed in terms of internal audit, right? The internal auditor is basically the auditor of the organization itself. Matlab, they are the internal people of this organization. So that's why, na, what happens is these people are going to give you a better view, because they know where the loopholes are and how to improve them even. And if you do not want to create a hike about it, how do you keep yourself and the organization away from any negative or bad light? So in this case, the correct answer would be the procedure to be followed during the internal audit in an IT environment or income tax environment. Sorry, in this case, it is information technology environment. Acha, everyone, what is not mentioned in the potential use of CAT in audit procedures? Penetration testing, or in calculating interest, or then is monitoring customer satisfaction, or sampling programs to extract data for audit testing. When we talk about which one of the following is not, so when we look at the audit area, monitoring the customer transaction satisfaction is not the point. It's just a feedback system of the organization. Penetration testing is important if anybody who's undesirable, he's trying to enter, how do they react? How to save things up? Now, that is just done to check that particular portion, nothing else. Done. So in this case, the correct answer is going to be monitoring the customer satisfaction. Much everyone, what is the importance of independent audit of financial statements for banks? What would be the answer? What is the primary importance of an independent audit? See, independent auditor definitely required badly, because if you are having an audit where you do not have your independence presence, na, then what happens is the auditor is always under the influence of the organization. Wherever the organization puts it, he has to abide by that. So basically, internal auditor is basically a little separate from the organization hierarchy. He stays away from the organization's regular working, but the point is, when we talk about independent auditor, now when this particular auditor joins back the organization, he has nothing to do with the organization. He's focusing on multiple workings at the same time. So he's not concerned about a company who who has given their books of accounts for review. Okay, so what is the primary importance? uh, Maximizing of shareholders um, wealth, then ensuring the companies with legal regulations, then facilitating and rapid changes in business conditions, and the last one is contributing to healthy, safe, and sound banking system. Done, everyone? What would be the answer in this case? What would be the answer, everyone, in this case? What is the primary importance of independence auditor? Independent auditor has no influence over the organization. He is someone who would come and study the organization, would give his report, and ultimately has an upper hand. So he is basically contributing towards a healthy, safe, and sound banking system. When he's reporting things, when he's telling things, when he's asking for things, that is important. What would be the answer in this case, everyone? That is contributing to health, safe, and the sound banking system. The banking system has definitely gone through major changes, but it is still currently having a little more stability, right? What would be the answer, everyone? What do you mean by the word statute in the statutory auditor? Statute means required by law. That's one of the basic things. A person with extensive audit experience, and then we have matured and compulsory budget in that case, and then is an auditor specializing in banking transaction or internal auditor appointed by the bank. Then, everyone, what would be the answer in this case? What would be the answer? What is the meaning of statute? When we talk about the term statute, the statute is required by law, mandated by the compulsory requirement by law. Acha, according to subsection 1 of the section 30 of the Banking Regulation Act 1949, who is required to audit the balance sheet and P&L? A person qualified designated by bank, an auditor appointed by RBI, the person duly qualified under law, or CFO of the bank. What would be the answer? And any qualified person who is basically designated, or any auditor appointed by RBI, or there is any auditor, a person duly qualified under LOC for the first time being enforced to be an auditor of the companies. Yeah, what would be the answer in this case, everyone? This is related to the area of the Banking Regulation Act only. Now, when we talk about this, it talks about one of the most important areas, that any person who is duly or under which is under qualified under law is definitely not correct. Then what they do is, for the time being the answer is basically related to there of the person who's duly qualified, because if you have to become an auditor, then you should be having the qualifications of the same, because the person who's going to check things whether they are correct or not, it first goes through those to if I have to really do that, then we go through our working through our parents, and then we start working upon anything else that we're doing. You know, for example, if I talk about the auditor now, if he looks at the work there in the organization, he's a guiding spirit, he is the bloodhound, he's the watchdog. Even when anything has happened, the organization, they will always be available in the organization, है ना? And then when we talk about the growth of the organization, they're sitting in the board meetings and everything else. When we talk about the people who are working, who is actively participating, auditor being actively participating cannot work. He just as an auditor, he would review the books of accounts and specify, right? So this is the question, a person who's duly qualified by law. What is the primary criterion for eligibility of conducting the statutory audit of the banks? Statutory audit of the banks, statutory means required by law. Intense, extensive experience in the banking operations, membership of ICAI, recognition of banking management, or approval of CAG. When you are having audit of the banks, you need to be a member of ICAI, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. It is allowed only for all these people. Rather, when you start practicing, there are certain number of bank audits which the ICAI provides itself. Hello everyone, welcome to Officer 24/7. My name is Niharika Walia Bhatnagar, and I am with you with the area of accounting and financial management for bankers. So now with this series, I am ending the module A today. But if I'm ending the module A, what should we do today? Today I'm going to cover the entire module with a quick revision. Matlab, we'll be doing a good number of questions today, which are exclusively from this particular entire module A. Different questions, more or less, more of a conceptual thing is going on. So let's quickly start with our journey. Okay, so let's have a module A quick revision. Okay, here comes the first question, everyone. Which of the following is not a subfield of accounting? Management accounting, cost accounting, financial accounting, or bookkeeping? Among the following, which is not a subfield of accounting? Management accounting is a branch of it. Cost accounting is also a branch. Financial accounting is also a branch, while bookkeeping is the baby of it. Matlab, it's a child. How do we say that? Because ultimately now we start with recording, and then we do the other things. That means analysis and everything else is done afterwards. So can I say that in this case, when we talk about the area of bookkeeping, bookkeeping is what? Bookkeeping is basically a part of the accounting series. Before you don't record things, how can you analyze it further? So technically, the first thing is bookkeeping. So the answer is D. That is bookkeeping. Acha everyone, if you haven't liked this session, then please go ahead and like the session. Along with this, go ahead and share this particular or entire module A series to among your peers. And at the same time, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please do the same. Acha, there's a surprise going on as well. Just go and check out our app or our website. You will find double validity going on our um, on our pack, Mahapack, double validity plus 81% discount. Plus, when you talk about the normal classes there, if you're looking forward towards JIB, looking forward towards AFM, all these are right now available at 81% discount. So go ahead and check it out on our website and our app for further details. But do it as early as possible. It's there for a very limited period, right? So let's continue further, everyone. Acha, I was talking about this. The determination of expenses of an accounting period is based on the principle of what? Objectivity, materiality, matching, or entity. When we talk about determination of expenses for an accounting period, we're looking at an entire year. We're going to find out the expenses of that entire year. We're going to find out all the incomes of that entire year. And once we have done both of these, we can find out the profit or loss of the same. You know? So things get a little better. Because if I'm looking forward towards expenses, you asked me, ma'am, how much did you earn this year? But I said that, but I made 20 lakh this year. But to make 20 lakh, I had to spend around 12 lakh rupees. You will say, okay, does this mean that if you earned 20, you spent 12, so that means 20 minus 12, your profit is of 8 lakhs? I said, absolutely right. Now, this 12 lakh is for the current year, while this 20 lakh is also for current year. There is nothing for the previous years, isn't it? So, in this case, the principle is called the matching principles. Expenses for an accounting period are recognized as matching. So, can I say the answer is C, the matching principle, right? Okay, so let's move on and talk about the next question now. Which of the following types of information are found in subsidiary ledger but not in general ledger? Total cost of goods sold for the period, quantity of the particular product sold during the period, amount owed to a particular seller, or portion of total current assets that consist of cash. What would be the answer in this case, everyone? Which of the following types of information are found in subsidy ledgers but not in general? Subsidy are what? Additional ledgers that we prepare, and the basic are general ledgers, right? So if I'm looking at both of these, what is basically not included and included? Um, See, when we talk about subsidiaries, now subsidiaries has specific information to record. That means it will record only a specific portion there. Matlab, subsidy will say if I am recording cash book, I will just record the cash transactions only. Don't tell me about the credit transactions because those are something which doesn't concern me. And when we talk about the cash area, they just talk like the same manner. So in this case, the correct answer comes out to be the quantity of products sold during the period. This is not shown in the general ledger. This is a part of the other part. This is a part of subsidy there. Acha. Then comes the contra entries are passed only when the double column cash book is prepared, triple column or three column, or simple or none. When we talk about the contra entries, now contra means contradictory. You know, basically what is happening. This means on both the sides, debit and the credit side, we have a particular transaction. How is it possible? One particular transaction cannot have debit and credit because at the same time it cannot be like that. It just cannot be cash to cash. This just doesn't make sense. So, what do we do? When we talk about contra entries are those entries in which both the debits and the credit sides are engaged. This is normally possible in a triple column cash book where you have cash, where you have bank balance, and you have discount allowed. In the same case, cash, bank, and discount received. Why do we say discount allowed here and received here? The difference is because received is done when we are receiving the money. You know, that is an income. The discount which we are receiving is on the credit side. The discount which we are allowed to is on the debit side. So in this case, when we have, if I deposit money and if I withdraw money, in that case, if I deposit money into the bank, so technically bank column is going to increase on the debit side, but cash column is going to decrease on the credit side. And this is for deposit. And if I withdraw money from bank, for the withdrawal, what do we have? It is withdrawing money, I get cash and I lose bank. So in this case, not the same column is engaged in terms of debit and credit, but two different columns, since there are two different columns available. So one part of debit and one part of credit is having an activity there. So that's why these are called contra entries. In terms of the double column or triple column cash book now, what they do is they write the term voucher number here, and where for these entries they use the term C to define that there are contra entries involved in this particular cash book transaction. So can I say these are contra entries? Indeed, they are contra. Then everyone, that is three column cash book. And how do we define contra entries? Contra entries are those entries where you have both the things. That is inflow and outflow. Either inflow of cash, outflow of bank, or inflow of bank and outflow of cash. This is how we define the contra entries. Done everyone? So let's talk about the next part. If a concern proposes to discontinue its business from March 2010 and decides to dispose of all the assets within a period of 4 months, and the balance sheet is prepared on 31st of March, should assets indicate the historical value, net realizable, cost less depreciation, or cost or market price value, whichever is lower? What happens is, normally, um, I got a car. I won't look at my car every single day and would say कि पता है my car today is worth rupees this. पता है tomorrow it is worth rupees that. I'll be the first person to get it. Why do I need to value the car? I'm not selling it off. So technically there is no need to do anything. But when will I note it down? I will note it down, but only and only when I'm about to sell it. I want to find out, I want to inquire what value I'll get for it, and if I would like to buy another car, how much cost I'm going to bear for that. That kind of clarity is required by me. And I have to find out the ways through which I can become more and more clear about it. So at this time, what will happen? See, I bought my car for maybe 10 lakhs. And now, due to the usage, petrol expenses, the new engine are there now. My car is a little scratched as well. Used every single day. You going on the road, what will happen? So basically, this has happened with my car, and I went to. I thought of selling it to True Value, so I decided to go to True Value, and they said, "कि ma'am, देखिए, what was the price of the car that you bought?" I said it was 10 lakhs, and I'd been using it for the last 5 years, but now I'm thinking to change my car, so I thought of selling it. So they said, "कि ma'am, देखिए, we won't give you 10 lakhs for the car because you bought it for 10. It was new at that point of time. Currently, for this particular car maybe we can give you 5 or 6 depending upon the condition. If the condition is good, we'll give it." They opened the engine. They said engine is all fine. The scratches were minor. They said, "I think we would like to take it at 6 lakhs." Now, in my books of accounts, shall I still continue recording it at the cost price, or I have to come to net realizable value? कि देखिए मोटा मोटा this much amount would be coming. मोटा मोटा means roughly. So this is what I know कि नहीं, this much amount of money is definitely gonna come to me. So that is where, this is where the going concern is violated. कि ठीक है, now this is an end of going concern, right? So the going concern is ending. So in this case, what will happen is you will end it at net realizable value, everyone. It is net realizable. Matlab, if I sell it today in the market, what value is available in the market is called net realizable value. Done. Next question. Mr. A purchased a machinery costing rupees 1 lakh on 1st of October 2011. Transportation installation charges were there. I bought this machinery for rupees 1 lakh. Good enough. Then I paid transportation installation charges for 10,000, and then for another 4,000. So I have paid already a good amount of charges. Though I bought it for 10, but ultimately have spent 14,000. Otherwise, it was not possible. Then they said dismantling charge of old machine in which the new is also done. Basically, old machinery was installed. I have to remove the old to put the new one. So what should we do about this 10K? Shall I include it? I'm supposed to. If I don't remove the old machinery, where will I put the a new machinery? So technically, can I say this 10,000 has to be considered? It has to be. Otherwise, you cannot put the machinery there. Then market value of the machine estimated is 1 lakh 20. It doesn't matter what is the value in the market. Why? The problem is that in the books of accounts, when we are trying to record the things, we cannot record it at the value which is 1 lakh 20. Matlab, why shouldn't we record? That's the market value. Market value changes every single day. I bought an iPhone. I bought my iPhone for, say, at that point of time it was 70,000, and then they introduced another model, and then the value of my phone came down to 45 or 50,000 because new models have been launched. So can I cry about the fact that I think market value is this? No, the value is going to change every single day. Market value is never the same. Gold value, does it remain the same? Nothing remains the same. No? So in this case, we're just trying to find out while finalizing that whether we should record the things at market value. Market value changes every single day. If the accountant is engaged in this work now, he will be tired. He'll be like, what is happening, sir? How can I record only these things? So what do we do? There's a violation of which concept? Cost concept, matching concept, realization, or periodicity. Acha, periodicity talks about period. Matlab, they talk about if you're recording 11 to 12, we're recording that part. I don't think there's a problem there. Then matching concept is related to expenses and incomes only. It never talks about normal things. It records expenses and incomes only. And then comes realization concept. What do you mean by realization concept? What amount you are going to receive finally is called realization concept. Last thing that comes is cost. See, the cost you are actually incurred, you are already done with, is considered in cost concept. So in this case, what will happen? Cost concept is violated in this case. Why are we recording things at market value? Market value keeps on changing. How many times will you show this? Though when we talk about the Ind AS, na? Ind AS is a little broader. AS was like, nahi, nahi, this should not be done. Ind AS said, nahi, you record the yearly fluctuation and define it into a separate reserve and use the money from that reserve itself. So that's what they do. Okay. Then comes another question. This is from bills of exchange. A drew a bill on B for rupees 50,000 for 3 months. Proceeds are to be shared equally. A got the bill discounted at 12% per annum and remits required proceeds to be the amount of such remittance will be 24250, 25,000, 16,167 or 32333. Acha, now what does this mean? A drew the bill on B. Sorted. It was for 3 months. Proceeds were to be shared equally. They drew the bill and then they thought, okay, chalo, let's sell it to the bank. They sold it to the bank. A sold the bills receivable to the bank, but the bank said, I will not give you 50,000. If bank gives me 50,000 and it receives 50,000 from the other party, what money is bank making? They are not here to do the social work. They are there to earn as well. No? So technically, this 50,000 has to be taken. And then what will you do? You will multiply this with 12% and then you multiply it by 3 months. Why? Because the bank is going to hold this particular bill for the entire 3 months. So can I say if I look at the amounts, it's gonna be 1,500 rupees less, you know, 1,500 rupees less. Now let's talk about the two people there. There are two persons. One is getting 25,000 since the total is 50, and the other one is also going to get 25,000 if the total would have been seen. But the point is, out of the total, 1,500 is not received. So that is, first way is basically you take 50,000, you remove the 1,500 out of it, you are left with 48,500, and this 48,000 is divided into A and B. That is one of the best ways to do it. Otherwise, what will you do? First of all, you will allocate the entire amount and then you will remove the 1,500 out of it. 750 and 750. It will give the same answer though. It doesn't matter. It's just a way of presentation, everyone. So in this case, the correct answer is, if we have got 48,500, this 48,500 would be divided among the two. That makes 24,250 and 24,250. Done, everyone? Acha. Which one of the following statements is true? Capital expenditure does not affect the profitability. if I buy a bigger machinery, then obviously, if I'm spending that much of money, I might be getting something. Capital expenditure affects the profitability of the concern directly, but revenue expenditure does not. Capital expenditure affects the profitability indirectly, but revenue expenditure affects directly, or both capital and revenue expenditure affect the profitability. See, capital expenditure increases the profitability. If I get another machinery, my production is going to increase like anything, right? So technically, when you are putting money there, obviously you will put money only when you find there is something that you will get in the future. So in this case, the answer is C. It will always affect the profitability of the future, but revenue affects directly. Okay, capital expenditure is doing it indirectly, but if you have greater profits, you will be doing a more of that particular organization work now. That is, a revenue expenditure affects it directly. Okay. Okay, then comes the next point. Identify the true statement of the following. Balance sheet is always prepared from the point of view of business, but not from the owner. The financial relationship of business to its owners is shown in the balance sheet. The balance sheet is always related to the period of time 1 and 2, 2 and 3, then 1 and 3, or 1, 2, and 3. Balance sheet is basically prepared from the point of business only. That is true. Financial relationship is shown there, and uh, I would basically go for 1 and 2 there. The reason is that first and second are correct. The third is it is always related to a period of time. This is the normally that is always prepared for a period of time even. But nay, there's one uh, mistake there. When they talk about balance sheet now, it is always stated that as on 31st of March. It's just for that one specific day, because cash balances keeps on changing every single day. Stock changes every day. So you cannot prepare it for a period of time. Profit and loss account is prepared for a period of time. Balance sheet is not. So technically, yes, the answer is 1 and 2 only. Okay, the answer is A. This is a very interesting question. This was a past year question paper of another examination where we had similar kind of questions, and they had been asking questions from the different papers where we have similar syllabus. So that's a very good question, trickier question rather, right? So this is the question there. Acha. Next pointer. Window dressing is prohibited due to. What is window dressing, everyone? You look at the window, you find the window bright, sunshine is coming, and it's very beautiful, all clean, whatever you see from that window. The moment you enter the door, you will find that only that part of the organization was blooming, growing, glowing, because people had seen only that part, but the rest of the organization is in very bad shape. That is window dressing. What you make other people think about you. Then conservative convention of disclosure, convention of materiality, area of book accounts. Area of book accounts is out. Window dressing is prohibited because if the shareholders' money is basically misled, if they are not given proper information what is happening with their money and what has exactly the organization been doing, so all those things can lead to major losses. So can I say the answer is convention of disclosure? You didn't disclose the vital information, right? You are rather misled people into something else, isn't it? So yes, that's the correct answer. Now, the last question. Accounting firm refers to only events which are concerned with the business firm. Accounting information is presented in financial statements. Yeah, it normally includes only the things which are related to the business, because we are making business books of accounts, not personal books of accounts. So in this case, the correct answer is that, nay, not both are wrong. Accounting information refers to only events which are concerned with business firm. Uh, वैसे तो second part is correct, but it is not going with the first one. So yes, we can say that A and B are not related, right? So in this case, one particular point would be accounting information refers to only events which are concerned. So the accounting information is personal as well. So technically, yeah, we can say both are wrong. It is correct only partially, but in the broader way, I can say business. It is not only personal, professional accounting. You do the personal accounting as well, and then accounting information is presented in financial statement. It is prepared. But then not only in financial statements in the form of study notes in terms of the schedules, additional policies, all those things are also a part of it. So accounting information is definitely not that limited. Everyone, welcome to Officer 24/7. My name is Niharika Wale Bhatnagar and I am with you with the area of accounting and financial management. Acha. In this particular series, we have already done a good number of chapters. Today, I'm starting over with another chapter of Module B. Is Module B important? It is. Why? Because this particular chapter lays down the foundation for Module C as well. Certain chapters of Module C are related to this. In terms of the financial statement analysis, there's something called ratio analysis. If you understand financial statements and final accounts here, you can do that part easily. In this particular module, you will understand the financial statements of a normal organization, a company, as well as a banking company as well. So a banking company prepares its format differently from that of normal companies. But then for that, both of those companies, you need to understand what exactly is done in terms of a proprietorship, right? So that's one of the basic things that we'll be discussing today. Okay, so let's talk about this specific area. Now, when we are talking about overall the topic of financial statements, now, first of all, please like this session, everyone. Go ahead and click on the thumbs up button and like the particular session. Along with this, if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, then please go ahead and subscribe the channel as well. And along with this, please share the session if you like it. Right, so this is an entire series where I'm covering the entire module. I've already covered the module A, find it in the playlist, and then we'll be moving forward towards the module B right now, and then we'll be going on with module C further, followed by last module D. So that's the entire agenda to cover the entire book in the simplest and yet in a proper manner. Right, everyone? Acha, now when we are talking about the entire area of this chapter, first of all, it's way better that if we are studying, then why not study through the specific topic of the format? Acha, what do you mean by the format of this particular area? Now, this is the format for the proprietorship. A single person having a business there would be showing their books of accounts like this. Okay? So that's what we do in terms of the accounting statements of a normal organization, sole proprietorship, a partnership. If they are producing something, this is the main format which is used. So for a better clarity, just keeping it off so that you can see it. Now, this is called a trading account. Trading account is basically a nominal account. Why nominal? It has both expenses and incomes. And if I talk about expenses and incomes, one of the basic things that they are doing is that if I talk about expenses and incomes, all the incomes are from in this area and expenses are in this area. And this particular nominal account is related to the area of production of goods, or we are related to the area of purchase and then sale of goods. So anybody who's involved in goods is related to the area of trading account. They have to prepare one. So when you get the particular goods that you have in the opening time of the year, that is your opening stock, है ना? And then we have the area of closing stock. When we have the area of closing stock is the one which we are having by the end of the year after sale and everything, whatever is left. Then we have the area of buy sales. Acha, what do you mean by sales here, everyone? Sales is the amount of the goods that we have sold. Acha, now this is all related to sales, but the point is, how do we sell things? We don't spend any penny. We have to, if we want to earn, we have to spend on earning that amount as well, isn't it? That's one of the basic realities of life, that first of all, you have to do this, right? Done. So in this case, what are the things? First of all, it includes the area of purchases, less returns, carriage inwards. Carriage inwards is what? This is the goods that we purchase. So this is what we had for, say, I had 10 units in the rupees 10 worth goods in the beginning of the year. Then I bought goods worth rupees 20 further. And then by the end of the year, after sales and everything, I am left with barely 4 rupees. So that means everything else has been sold. So maybe I sold it for 40 rupees. Obviously, we'll sell it for a price. But this is just related to the area of purchasing something and selling something. What about the expenses that I'm incurring? So these are the expenses that I'm incurring to earn the income for the year. And reminder, the sales here is a sale of goods. The purchases here is purchase of goods. It does not include any purchase of asset. Then everyone, carriage, cartage, dock charges, wages, duty, freight, all these things are included in this area. Clearing charges, when you are getting the goods into the line of production, is all included in this area. And the balancing figure is if you have more income, then obviously you have profit on the debit side. That's the balancing figure where your credit side is more than the debit side. In the trading account, you have a gross profit. They call it gross profit. While in the other case, we have more of debit. If you have more of expenses than your incomes, that is called the net profit. Done, everyone? That's how we define this entire area. Now, this is the entire trading account. Now, what do we have to learn? Today, we'll be studying about all these things through numericals. We'll be learning more about all these things through the questions or MCQs, which are both theory as well as practical based. Well, I'm going to deal with some numericals as well and a few theory, but just give a quick look to it because this is what is super important. And this particular snapshot is taken from the book itself. That means, again, I am just strictly following the IIBF book, nothing else. Only in terms of practice questions, we can see the questions which were asked in the examination and similar kind of questions we have been preparing. But the data and everything else is strictly taken from the book itself. So if you are looking forward towards your studies, then please go ahead and study properly there from the book itself. And if you want to enroll, then what you can do is you can enroll in our Mahapacks or in the Achievers batch, which is the foundation batch for the JIIB. I'm sorry, it has recently started. So in that case, you won't have a problem in coping up. But just go ahead with it, enroll yourself as early as possible so that whenever you are going for the class, now you are not worried about the content there. You are still able to get through the class in a proper manner. Okay, so all sorted. Saw that. Now, shall we proceed further, everyone? Let's continue further. Okay. Here comes the first question. I think I'd shown the particular question earlier only. That's one more important thing, everyone. Our batch has already started, right? And currently now the double validity is going on. New batches come up every single time. So whenever it's possible now, whenever you feel, just join our JIIB batch. But currently, if you buy it, you will get it at double validity in on our Mahapacks and 81% discount on the courses there. So if you are looking forward to it now, this is the perfect time when you can purchase it. So kindly go ahead and get these particular packs as early as possible. Done, everyone? Chaliye. Then let's begin with the first question, which says, uh, what is the ultimate objective of recording the specific area of financial transaction in the business? Why do we do this? To increase the profits? No. The profits are earned from the production, not from this. To prepare the P&L, to eliminate clerical errors, or to calculate taxes. This is basically done for only one purpose. When you are looking for the financial statements, you want to know where do you stand in the market. So technically, you want to prepare your balance sheet and profit and loss account, which we simply call the financial statement. The term financial statement includes both, everyone. Okay? It is the financial statements. Done? Acha. Now comes the first question. This kind of question is something I think I expect in the examination. These are really simple yet very interesting questions. Okay, so go ahead and everyone, let's look at the particular question now. Done, everyone? Let's look at this specific question. The question says prepaid wages in the trial balance are assets. They are debit in the trading account and assets. It is basically debit in the P&L or debit of trading account. I discussed the area of trading account today. I think in the upcoming class, what I'll do is I'll also give you the format of P&L and balance sheet as well, so that you can prepare properly. Right? Okay. Now comes prepaid expenses are those expenses matlab I paid in advance. Acha, everyone think over it. When I have to pay to someone, I'll be like, oh, I have to pay. And then if I am going to receive money from someone, I'm always like, I'll be receiving money from someone. Huh? Both the difference is when you go like this is your credit side. When you go like this is your debit side. The best way to learn accountancy is not to be too sophisticated about it. The sophisticated manner is really good if you know accountancy from years. But if you're learning it for the first time, then it is way better that you learn accountancy with fun. Now, prepaid wages means what? I have paid the wages in advance, so my employee can never complain. So I'll be like, I have paid in advance. So you can feel that particular proud in this. That's a debit side item. This is basically an asset. Now the point is, does this belong to this year? Okay, it doesn't. Why? Because prepaid wages means that wages which has been paid in advance. That means earlier when I was saying, hi, I paid 10,000 rupees in terms of wages in the entire year, then someone would correct me, sir, ma'am, what has happened is, do you know? I said, what? They said, they'll say that the amount of 2,000 belongs to next year. I'll say, oh, you are correct. 8,000 belongs to this year, but the remaining goes to the asset side. Hai na? Got the idea? This is because of the matching concept. Whatever is there as an expense should be the one which is there in the business. Now, anything which is in the trial balance will be shown only once because it has already been accounted for in both the accounts. So, prepaid wages is what? In this case, it is basically an asset. Always remember, if I prepare a trial balance, na, whatever is given in the trial balance, that particular thing would be taken to the financial statements, be it P&L, be it in the P&L balance sheet, wherever do you show it, it would be shown as a particular item and it would be shown only once. But if after this I come to know, oh, I forgot to record the depreciation, I forgot to record anything else. So all those adjustment entries. For that adjustment entry, what will you do in the financial statement is you have the journal entry for it. The problem is this journal entry didn't go into the ledger, didn't go into the financial statements at all. So whenever you are directly taking something into the financial statements, you have to show both the debit and credit side items. In the financial statements, if you're preparing trial balance, you don't do it. Simple reason. Everything has two aspects, the debit item and the credit item. In the trial balance, the debit item is here and the credit item is here. So technically, the items are already accounted for. So we just present it. While in the other case, we cannot present it because this didn't go through the ledger and then the trial balance and the entire working. So we'll have to wait. So in this case, the correct answer would be, in this case, the scenario would be two adjustments on the debit side, one on the credit side. But if you are making something from the trial balance, if it is written ki nahi, this is from the trial balance itself, then it is shown only from one side. Then everyone, let's look at the next question. The trial balance contains the following information. 15% bank loan is given. Okay. The interest paid is 4,500. अच्छा, this 15% is actually called a hidden adjustment. पता है? This particular 15% is actually a hidden adjustment. Why would I call it a hidden adjustment? Nobody told me what is the percentage of the bank interest. है ना? Now the point is, if it is 40,000 loan, then the interest for the year should be 6,000. While I paid 4,500, will they be fine? I think they would be offended, right? If it's the bank loan, then the bankers are going to come after me. Ma'am, why? Why haven't you paid the interest part? And then I'll be like, I apologize for the trouble. This 1,500 rupees is still pending on my part. So first of all, let's process it. The trial balance contains the acha nahi, but this question requires a little more editing. So let me edit the question for you. In this case, the question can ask the amount of interest expense to be booked in the profit and loss account. When you are recording these things, then you will have to see what particular amount you are charging in your books of accounts. 1,500, 4,500, 3,000 or 6,000. Remember, the amount due is 6,000. The person has paid less. This part is outstanding. But remaining is paid. That means the total amount for this year is actually 6,000. Okay? These are trick questions. Okay. A's trial balance provides you the following information. There is a bad debt of 3,000. Now the point is, this is a dead loss. You cannot recover money from this person. Then provision for bad debts 5,000. It is desired to maintain provision of 1,500 for doubtful debts. The amount of recorded P&L will be 4,500, 5,000, 500, 3,500 or 3,500 debit credit respectively. Whenever you're dealing with the provisions and bad debts now, always remember what worst has happened. Okay, we have already faced a dead loss during the year for rupees 3,000. Along with this, we have to prepare new provision. We still need more provision of rupees 1,500. Matlab, technically, the total amount of the losses we should be prepared for is 4,500. But the already old provision which is prepared is of rupees 5,000. Matlab, I thought 4,500 would do. And I already prepared 5,000 last year. So I am keeping excessive provision now. I'm saving a lot for one particular purpose where there is no need. So that means, shall I remove this 500? We can, right? So this was already in the credit side, but if we want, we can put it on the debit side now to cancel out it. That means in the portion of my profit and loss account, what will I do? The answer is this 500 only, and I'll take it to the credit side. The provisions that we create normally in the profit and loss account are shown on the debit side because that's a dead loss, or we have to prepare for the loss. So technically, both bad debts and provisions are covered on the debit side. But if you are reducing your provision, it would go on the credit side. It's a very important and a very simple point. In accountancy, we never say ki acha, oh, I had written debit, let's cancel it out and write credit. They are totally against this. They will create a lot of trouble for you. They will say, if you created a debit, then you create a counter credit. That means if it was 10, you create a minus 10 here so that this is nullified. If you have to show credit of 20, then write 20. Now in this case, it would be written as 10 overall. You know? This one would be cancelled, and technically the next 20 is created. So that means create 30. So 30 minus 10, your amount will come out to be 20. Technically, You cancel it out by creating a counter credit, and then remaining 20 is noted here. So that 30 minus 10 is the amount which would be shown in the books is 20. So they just create that particular thing ki if you had a plus 10 here and you have to get minus 40, technically it was shown on the debit side while it should be shown on the credit side as 40. So what will you do? First of all, for this debit you take minus 10 and you create this one. So that means on the credit side you create 50. 50 minus this particular 10 will automatically give you 40. So you create a counterparty. So this will never create a trouble for you. Done, everyone? Now, prepaid expenses, if given in the trial balance, is shown in prepaid expenses. Matlab the expenses which are paid in advance, and it is shown in the trial balance. If I've paid something in advance, it is always taken to the balance sheet. So it will be taken to the balance sheet as an asset. Good evening, everyone. Merry Christmas. Welcome to Officer 24/7. My name is Niharika Valia Bhatnagar, and I'm with you with the area of AFM. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today is uh, accounting and financial management, but I am starting with a very important module, that is module B. Module B overall is super duper important because there are many chapters from where you get detailed questions in the examination. So it's an absolutely super important chapter. So if you like this particular session, please share this session among your peers. Along with this, what you can do is that after the share this, keep on liking it, and at the same time subscribe to our channel. And Merry Christmas again. So what you can do is after the completion of the class, check out our website or our app for further details regarding our courses as well, as my AFM batch has just started. So you can do a lot of the basic concepts of accounting in these initial classes. So you haven't missed much if you haven't enrolled in the course yet. If you have, then really good. If you haven't, then go ahead and subscribe to our specific course, right? Acha. What is balance sheet equation? Everyone, this is the base of accounting. When I say balance sheet equation, the balance sheet equation is what? The balance sheet equation says that whatever you have in your business, it's because you introduced your money into it, which is called capital. Then what you did was you obviously you needed a lot of things to buy. Then sometimes your money falls short. So you take the money from others as well. So this is the entire money that is invested in the business, be it in the form of capital or liabilities, owners' funds or outsiders' funds. Then this is all used to make up assets. How do we describe assets? Assets can be anything which helps our business to grow further. It can be our cash, it can be our bank balance, bill receivable, debtor, stock in trade, furniture, machinery, building. What are all these? These are something. Assets are those things which helps a business. These are not the things which are sold. These helps the business to grow. Matlab, through this the business grows to grow. So assets are those things which helps a business to grow. For example, if I talk about a person who sells furniture, furniture is not an asset. It's a pure good for them. That means through the particular thing, they are selling their goods. है ना? So technically the goods sale is because you have bought raw material, then you converted it into the finished goods and you bought wood and used it in this. So technically your wood which is used in this area is covered here. है ना? But now I have a doubt there. If that is raw material, then the computer that he's using to jot down all the important details, the printer that they are using, the computer, the printer, the particular chair table which is he's using for keeping his office intact there. So all these things are included in this now. These are called assets. And when we talk about the capital and liabilities, those capital and liabilities can be said as something which helps the business to grow further. So this is the investors' money and outsiders' money. So the capital is my investment, and we have the reserves and surplus, where reserves and surplus is the savings of the business. Matlab, surplus is the extra money, and this is the saving which is made for a specific purpose or a free purpose कि ठीक है रख देते हैं. Let's just keep it aside that maybe we'll need it for the building, or maybe we'll just need it on a random basis as well. Surplus is basically whatever income they receive, that is their profit, a part of the profit which the businessman has not taken and is still lying in the business. That's called surplus. Then liabilities can be long term and short term. Same way assets can be long term and short term. So current and non-current assets. Non-current means the one which is used for more than 1 year, and current means which is used for less than 1 year, which is basically converted into cash within the period of less than 1 year. So cash and bank balance is already included, but these people, bill receivable, debtor, and stock in trade, these three things, they will be in cash to within a period of less than 1 year or one operating cycle, whichever is longer. Then furniture, you use furniture to sit so that your employees can sit. You use machinery so that you can produce more. And then what you do is you have your own buildings through which you are able to work in a better way. So these are all the things that we are looking at. Capital plus liabilities can be something. Capital is your owner funds, and liabilities are those money that you are taking from the other people. So, bank overdraft is one of them. If I haven't paid the money to someone, it is my outstanding expenses. These 2 points are bills receivable, bills payable, as well as outstanding. These are my current liabilities. The liabilities which I'm supposed to pay are called current liabilities. And then we have bank OD. What do you mean by bank OD? If I deposited 10,000 and I withdrew 14,000, that minus 4,000 would be visible as a bank overdraft, right? So this is a non-current. This is actually a current liability too. Bank OD is also current liability. Term loans are non-current liability, right? So these are the entire things that we that the balance sheet equation is made up of. Capital plus liabilities is equal to assets. This balance sheet equation is not only called balance sheet equation, it is also called basic accountancy equation or accounting equation. So there are many different names which are given to this balance sheet equation, basic accounting equation, or accounting equation. So there are three different names of this particular equation. This lays down the foundation. Acha, here comes the first question. How is net worth defined in context of the business entity? The total value of the assets, the sum of liabilities and assets, claims of owners against the assets, or claims of outsiders against the assets. Net worth. Net worth means the worth of the money in the worth of the business in the eyes of the other people there, right? Not in the eyes of the business itself, but in the eyes of other people. Matlab, the business is going to jot down whatever assets they have got, whatever the liabilities they have to pay, and this is where they'll talk about to the world ki dekhiye, I have this much amount of money. So how do we say this is basically the claims of owner against the assets? This means from your total assets, you jot down the total assets, and then you remove the outsiders' money. So after the outsiders have taken their money, whatever is left is the assets which belong purely to the equity shareholders. Okay, na? Got it, everyone? So in this case, the scenario changes altogether. Then, according to the concept of accountancy, how are the business and its owners treated? They are considered identical, they are separate and distinct. The business transactions are recorded from the owner's perspective, and owner's claims are not taken into account. What's going to be the answer there? According to the concept of accountancy, how are the business and its owner treated? The business and its owner are treated in such a way where the business is different from the owner. The business and owner are not the same. They are never the same though. Basically, na, business and businessman, they are never treated the same way. This is something which we have studied in the single entity business entity concept as well. That means if the businessman gives money to the business, the money belongs to the business then. That is why it is called capital. The money that business owes to the businessman owes to its owner. And liabilities are the money they owe to other than owner. बहुत basic बात है. This is a very extremely basic point, but this has to be very clear that the business and the businessman are not the same, right? Then they are separate and distinct entities. Next point. What does the balance sheet equation expresses? Assets is equal to liabilities. Assets are equal to claims of the business. Liabilities are claims of the owners, or assets is equal to total claims. When we talk about the balance sheet equation, it says the assets are equal to what? The assets are equal to the money which the business man gives and the money which the outsiders are giving. So overall the value would be assets is equal to the total claims. Claim of the owner or outsiders. Both are included. So can I say whatever assets we have, be it long term or short term, that means non-current assets plus current assets is because of owner's money. Capital is always long term. So it's a non-current liability portion, or it is actually written as a separate item altogether. So I'll write capital as it is, and then the next point that here is capital plus liabilities. How do we define the liabilities? Current liabilities as well as non-current liabilities. Got the idea, everyone? So this is how we record this portion. Now comes the next point. How can the balance sheet equation be expressed in terms of outside liabilities, capital as well as assets? How do we define it? Outside liabilities is equal to assets minus capital. Capital is equal to outside liabilities minus assets, or capital is equal to assets minus outside liabilities, or assets is equal to capital plus outside liabilities. So if you remember, we have just talked about it. Can I say that, see, this is where they're just playing with it. Let's look at this. Capital plus outside liabilities is equal to assets. Now can I say the capital is equal to assets minus outside liabilities? So in this case, they have just changed the way through which the formula is written. Nothing else. This is just a change or twist in the formula. Done. Next point, it is capital is equal to assets minus outside liabilities. Now, conversion of loan into equity is change in both assets and liabilities, change in total assets or total liabilities, only, or change in liabilities but total remains the same. Okay, everyone, there was a loan that the owner gave to the business, and this loan was converted into capital. Does this mean the business capital or liabilities, anything was in total, the liabilities are increasing? Total liabilities are still 10 lakh. There was a loan of 2 lakh rupees. There was a capital of 8 lakh rupees. Now, this would be removed and this would be added. Does this mean there is any change in the assets and liabilities? Assets are still there. Liabilities means the money from outsiders. There is a change in the outsiders funds, but the total liabilities does not change. Now, it is still 10 lakh. 8 plus 2, this is 10 and this is 0. So technically we are still having 10 lakh. Only the way of presentation of this particular area has changed. Hai na? There's nothing else that it has changed. So technically, there is a change in liabilities, but the total liabilities remains the same. The problem is that the change is only in terms of classification. What kind of classification are they talking about? The classification of the way the assets and liabilities are shown. For example, under balance sheet equation, what do we have? Our capital plus liabilities is equal to assets. Out of total liabilities, if I remove a few liabilities, liability number 1 is gone, Liability number 2 is gone and it is added here. So if I make minus 10 here and if I make plus 10, overall the assets are still the same. There is no change in the particular area. It's just about reclassification of items. Done, everyone? That's the only thing. Purchase of fixed assets on credit results in change in total assets, change in both assets and liabilities, change in total liabilities or change in liabilities, but total assets remain the same. Purchase of fixed assets on credit. Okay, look at this, everyone. This is my number of assets, which is made up of capital plus liabilities. Now, in this case, what am I going to do? The fixed assets are already given, the liabilities are already given. Okay, now this is a cool one. Why am I saying that? Assets are basically of 10,000. I bought a fixed asset, but it is bought on credit. So the cash is not going. Otherwise, what would have happened? If I bought an asset of 10,000, I would have lost cash of the same amount. In this case, the cash is not gone. So there is a liability, a total sum that I have to pay to someone. So technically, the accounting equation is still the same. Debit is equal to credit. LHS is equal to RHS. But the rule is specifying that the liabilities are increasing and the assets are also increasing, you know, but the change is same on both the sides. So in this case, the answer would be change in both the assets and the liabilities. On the asset side, I bought a machine, so there is a plus in assets. But since I haven't paid, so under the liabilities, I've got another set of 10,000 rupees to pay. So technically, what's happening? This portion is still matching, isn't it? Now, repayment of loan results in change in both assets and liabilities, change in total assets only, change in total liabilities only, change in liabilities, but total liabilities remains the same. So now I'm paying a loan. Okay, now let's find it out. How does this particular thing affect? Repayment of loan, capital plus liabilities is equal to assets. Now the point is repayment of loan. I have paid my loan, so technically minus 10,000 in case of the loan. The loan is going away, but if I am going from the loan, then I'm losing cash as well. How do we pay it? If you remember the journal, it is basically loan to cash. You are losing cash because of the loan. So technically, can I say this 10,000 is going to be removed? So in this case, what is it that I'm going to do is uh, one asset is reduced and the liabilities are also reduced. This is how this particular thing works. Always remember, if you know the journal entries, I've always said this. If you remember the journal entries, everything is a piece of cake. If you do not remember journal entries, then everything is complex for you. Okay, na? That's one of the basic necessities. If you remember that part, everything is a piece of cake. Change in both assets and liabilities. Now, the sale of goods on credit results in change in both assets and liabilities. Achha, now there is capital. You can write it in any of the ways. Matlab, it can be capital plus liabilities is equal to assets or vice versa, because the particular things remain the same. Sale of goods on credit results in sales of goods on credit. Now I am selling goods. Huh? That means I have got a debtor. Debtor worth rupees 20,000. But the point is, where is the cash? I haven't received the cash now. So technically, it is basically debtor to what am I losing? I am losing goods. That means there is an income coming up. You know, sales is my annual income. And how do we find the profit or loss? The profit or loss can be stated that income minus expenses will give you profit. And where does the profit go? Ultimately, whatever profit the organization earns, it is directly taken to the capital. So the best way is when you have any income, You add up the income in capital and remove the expenses from capital. Got the idea, everyone? Change in total assets and liabilities, both the sides. But remember, change in assets, but the total assets remain the same. Hmm. Acha, nahi. There's one more point. The presentation has to be different. Let me just show you that part as well. There is this part, the treatment is wrong. There is one more point. Matlab, this is actually way more complex. Let me tell you. I am losing stock. Actually, na, let me explain that part in a simple manner. I bought goods for rupees 10,000, sold them for 12,000. Technically, this is what has happened. And if I sold it for 12,000, so what will happen? I have got a debtor worth rupees 12,000. Plus, I have got goods. I have got a debtor worth rupees 12,000. And obviously, the cost of the stock is not 12, it is 10. I have made or secured my part of profit. So technically, my debtor is increasing. My stock is decreasing as per its cost. I'm losing the stock now. This is as per the cost and this is as per the sale. Now the difference is of 2000. Matlab my asset side has increased by 2000. So technically that 2000 or the income or the profit is a part of capital account. So this is the actual treatment. The one that I've stated that was wrong. So please correct it. The correct treatment is that you have to add the part of profit here. Okay, this is actually the elaborated form. I just gave you a crux of it. Now this is the elaborated form of it. Okay, so technically if I say the total assets remain the same, no, that is not going to be the point. In this case, there is a change in both the assets and liability side. This part is wrong. The answer is actually A. Okay, these kind of questions really helps you a lot in learning what exactly the balance sheet equation is. You buy goods, and obviously when you buy goods, how do you buy goods, everyone? You buy goods and then you pay for it. You lose cash, but if you sell goods, you make a profit or a loss, then that profit or a loss has to be adjusted here. Okay, so very important question, technical question rather. Chaliye. So that's it for the day, everyone. I hope you were able to get this particular point. If you're looking forward towards more questions, then I'll definitely get more of these questions in the upcoming sessions. But please go ahead and check out our website or our app. At this point of time, the website has got double validity on all our Mahapacks and 81% discount on any kind of courses that you take. Matlab, this is our JIB CIB Mahapack. You take JIB plus CIB, you get double validity, get it for 12 months. Then you get it for 24 months, rather than for 12. And you don't have to pay 12,000 there. Just use the code Y541 and you get 80% discount. Okay. So when we talk about this, you get 80% discount under this, and you will be able to get this particular point for 10,499. The original price was 52,000, and then you have got 81% discount and you get it for 10,499 if you use the code Y541. So hurry up and get your Mahapack right away because it is available at double validity. Merry Christmas again, everyone, and thank you so much for being there.